What's up everyone, Plastic Degenerates here, back at it again with a 1/6 scale Access Chemicals diorama build, part 2. In this video, I will be adding more mechanical components as well as weathering all the existing pieces of the build. So I hope you guys stay tuned and enjoy the journey. But please keep in mind I have no experience or any knowledge of how any of these mechanical components work in real life, or any gas tanks, pressure tanks, or anything like that. So this is just purely for aesthetics. Alright, so let's go and get started. So I did find this little contraption here. I believe it was from a fish tank that held up a filter. However, I thought it looked cool, had a bunch of grooves and a bunch of ports where I could add extra tubing to it to make it look like some sort of mechanical pressure tank of some sort. But I'm sure it'll all work out after I put it next to all the other diorama pieces. Alright, so here we have 4 PVC pipe tubing I got from Home Depot that's glued onto a sheet of insulation foam that's affixed to some PVC drain pipe plastic slip joint nut. In here I'm just hot gluing everything together, and if you guys want to see it, the sense of scale, here he is with the Mars Toys Mr. J Joker in flesh makeup, which is such a great figure, by the way. If you guys haven't seen it, there are a bunch of great reviews on YouTube. However, the figure is hard to get now. They are sold out everywhere, and the aftermarket prices are brutal. But if you can get it, I definitely recommend you should. But yeah, let's go ahead and speed this process up. Alright, so now that that is all glued together, let's go ahead and spray this. I probably should have primered this. I know the insulation foam doesn't do well with paint sometimes, but I'll be honest, it's not the most important thing in the world. Also, there was something else I wanted to bring up. I can't be the only one who enjoys just spraying stuff. Not quite too sure what it is about it, but I just find it super therapeutic and just relaxing and satisfying, really. Okay, now, on to the weathering. Okay, so this was the helium balloon tank that I painted on the first video. I did add a 3D printed pressure valve wheel onto it. And here's the paints I will be using for the weathering. It was part of a Vallejo, I think it was World War II set. The set included other paints, but the ones I will be using today is wood, orange rust, light rust, dark rust, and a German Panzer dark brown. Now, these are just some cheap dollar store brushes and a sponge brush. Also, I didn't really glue the wheel on, I just put some blue tack for now. Some of these are paints and some of them are pre-made washes, so the consistency is a little bit different. So you'll see some of them thicker than others and some of them more diluted. Also, I did print out this hazardous material or toxic waste sticker. I actually did search Amazon, eBay, and AliExpress to see if they had any miniature toxic waste stickers. I couldn't find any that I liked, so I ended up just randomly Googling it and found an image and just ended up printing it out. Okay, so here are the pipes all painted and the other contraption that I painted silver. Oh wait, I actually need some water for this. Give me a moment here. Okay, here we go. I think I'm ready. I think I have everything I need. So let's get started. So I'm going to go ahead and start everything off with a dark brown black or Panzer dark brown black wash. So I'm going to dilute this and apply the wash to everything here. You know what? That's still a little too thick. Let's go and dilute it a little bit more. Also, if I had sprayed a matte coat over everything, it probably would have took the wash a little bit better. But I didn't want to lose the sheen of the surface of the tank. So I didn't apply a matte coat. Once you start applying a paper towel or a sponge to the surface, it should start taking the wash. So I'm going to be speeding things up and down during this portion of the video. I'm sure you don't want to see me do this for the next 40 minutes. I did want to focus on some areas where I would dab the wash a little bit heavier than other areas, just to simulate a natural dripping of hazardous material or some type of leaking hazardous liquid. I did want to slow the video down here just to highlight some of the transitioning of paints, weathering paints. So the next color I'm using here is wood. So I'm going to be dabbing over all the areas, all the nooks and crannies and divots of this tank. Just to simulate age and natural weathering on these tanks. Just areas that would build up moisture, capture moisture, and create rust. And I'll go ahead and gently dab away at the areas with a paper towel or sponge. I'm going to be repeating this process all throughout all the diorama pieces. So I'm going to go ahead and start speeding up this video again. Alright, I'm just about done here, and here is a rusted pencil sharpener that I found in the garage, which was actually part of my reference that I used for the rust. You know what? I think I'm actually going to add that to the diorama. Okay, almost done here. The weathering is looking good. However, it's time to add some texture to all the rust. And here is actually my secret weapon. And it is cinnamon. This is actually a trick I learned from my very good friend, Fred, Jumpgate Customs. So what we're gonna go ahead and do is dab a little bit of Mod Podge. I did dilute mine a little bit with water. Of course, I ran out of water, so I'm gonna go get some right now. Okay, here we go. I'm gonna go ahead and dilute my Mod Podge with water. I'm gonna go ahead and dab it in all the areas that I had painted with all the Vallejo paint. I'm just going over all the areas that I painted, some of the crevices and little cracks here and there. I won't go over everything. I'll just go over most places that I painted, but I'm going to leave some of the paint exposed. And now is the fun part. We are going to go ahead and sprinkle some cinnamon all over the Mod Podge areas. That way, not only do we have all the rust colors and effects, we're also going to have a good rust texture. And again, a big shout out to Fred at Jumpgate Customs. He's the one who taught me this method of texturing my rust. I am going to shake off the excess cinnamon and run this through the blow dryer a couple of times just to clean everything up. Man, that's starting to look pretty good. I really do love this method. It is a bit messy, however, it's super effective. So I am really liking how this is coming out. I can't wait to put everything together just to get a good visual of how everything's gonna look in my display. Alright, so I'm just about done here. I'm going to leave you guys with the outro video. So enjoy, and if you like this content, please like and subscribe.